Hi, I'm Derek with Dormacaba. Today we're talking about the E7900 panic trim lock. So remember, this lock comes in a lot of different versions: mortise, cylindrical. Today we're looking at panic trim. And similar to our cylindrical video, I did not have a full package with the panic trim, so I kind of made up one. But we're going to look and see what all parts come in the box, and I'll discuss some of the differences as we go. So first thing we have here, we've got our instructions, but also in here we have different templates. So depending on exactly what panic bar you're using, what lock you're using, there are different templates for this, especially when you're talking about a rim panic or a mortise panic or a surface vertical rod, concealed vertical rod. All those can have different preps on the door. So we've got our different templates in here. We also have, similar to the others, our little key override instructions. One of the things we see that's a pain sometimes is putting the core into the lever. Sometimes people try to put them on the wrong way, so we have an instruction sheet here specific for that. Once you've done a couple, it gets real easy, but first one may be a little difficult, so make sure you read these instructions. So, next part we have in here is our battery. So we've got our batteries here and our door cover. Now this is one thing I don't have the correct part here, and I want to describe this. So on our other locks, the housing that holds the batteries and the Zigbee antenna is on the back housing, so the inside housing of the lock, similar to what we see right here. Now on a panic trim, we don't have an inside housing because we have our lock on one side and we have a panic bar on the other side. So when you're doing those, you'll actually have a housing that's just this black piece here, nothing else. So it's just this black piece with the cover and the batteries that mounts on the plate above the panic bar. So that's the one slight difference you'll see, is that housing is separate. So don't have that here to show you, but just wanted you to know that's there. Just like our other locks, we have our lever for the lock. Again, we can have this as this form, which is standard key override, would come with like a Schlage C keyway here. I can also order this as electronic override, so there's no hole here at all. And I can order it as SFIC, or as we call best prep. Would have your little figure 8 cut out for your core to go in here. We also have our panic plate here. So this plate mounts on the inside of the door behind the panic bar. Now, is this the exact panic plate for this? Again, it is not. Sorry. Slight difference you're going to have on yours is you would have a plate that looks very similar to this. These are your bottom mounting holes for the lock, the top mounting holes. These are the mounting holes for the panic bar itself, and the spindle and all goes through this opening. What you would have different is there would be some holes up here on the top for this battery pack and Zigbee antenna to mount to. So that's the difference you would have that you don't see on this plate, is the holes up here that this housing would mount to. So you would have this plate in there. Pretty thick plate too, strong enough for that bar to mount to and the lock to mount to. Still looks good on the door. All right, next part in here is our actual lock. So again, I stole the lock from the mortise one because I did not have the exact panic trim here, but the outside would look exactly like this. What you would have a little different is this inside. I would probably have a different number of wires because I'm not going to have all these features. I'm not going to have a thumb turn on the inside because this is a panic trim. I'm not going to have the return lever on the inside because, again, it's a panic trim. So I would probably only have a couple wires here, one for my battery and one for my Zigbee antenna. Also would not have the privacy switch here because, again, panic trim, you're not going to have a thumb turn on it. I would have this one down here for that spindle to go through to attach to the panic bar. So that is our lock housing. The other things in the box are gasket. Now, this is an older lock. This is actually a foam gasket. The one that comes with it now is more of a rubberized gasket, so a little bit nicer looking, seals up better. Holes in it may look a little different, but this is my gasket. Now, I highly recommend using the gaskets, especially when most of your panic trims are going to be on your exterior doors. May have it on some interiors, but definitely going to see them a lot on exterior doors. You really need that on it because think of how your building is. You may be down south, you're 100 degrees outside, 110 outside. Inside the building, you may be 60 degrees. So you've got a storm of humidity right there at the door. We want to try to seal things up the best we can so we don't have that temperature transfer through the door to build that condensation on the lock. So please use the gaskets. And the other thing we have in here is our hardware pack. Now this hardware pack is going to vary depending on what bar you're using. This one is actually for our Dorma 9300 bar. Actually comes with 3 different spindles depending on door thickness. That's really the only difference in these is the difference in door thickness, 1, 2, and 3. If I had a different manufacturer's bar, I may have a completely different looking spindle. I may have 1 spindle, I may have 3. Most of them only have 1 for that, and you order a different length if you have a different door thickness. We just give the standard door thickness one in there. But this one for the 9300, we go ahead and include all 3 of the spindles here. We also have our mounting screws. We have the screws to mount the other accessories in there. And we have our caps for the key override. So if you're ordering that standard key override, you can actually put a cap on it to cover it up when it's not in use so people don't even know it's there. So you don't have to worry about anyone trying to mess with it or anything. This one actually comes with the silver cap and a black cap, so you have your choice of what you want to use there. So those are the parts that come with my E7900 panic trim. Thank you very much.